it's Steph, and today we are doing a special interview with Days of Grey, aka Gershwin. Welcome.
Hey everybody, what's up?
How are you today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm really excited to interview you because you're a very creative mind. So I'm kind of curious to dig what is behind the brain, as they say, you know? And today what we're doing is featuring his new album, which just launched on October 31st, and it's Melancholia 2 Regenesis.
Thank you. Hey, I'm very excited to be here. It's my first interview ever. I'm glad to do it with someone super awesome. So
we'll try. So why don't we get into it and tell us a little bit about who you are, how Days of Grey came about. Just give me the lowdown.
Sounds good. I'm a solo artist. Days of Grey for me started in about 2016, 2017. I was actually in a couple other bands before, but as we were working on music, it started being very inspirational, and I decided to write my own music in that time period. Started putting together some music already, but on a trip to Iceland, I was walking around the city, and I noticed an ad for a film called Days of Grey with an AY, an independent film, and something about the name kind of just stuck out to me. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Grey is a combination of Gershwin Reynolds, which is my name. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know it at the time, but that's why it kind of rung true for me. And I decided then that was an avenue I was going to pursue with my music.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a little cool tidbit because I didn't know that. The Days of Grey. It's interesting how we see things along our travels or even our daily life that inspire us.
Absolutely.
So you had a solo album, Days of Grey, around 2019?
It came out 2019. After that, I started working on music. So
with that in mind, can you describe what that album represented and maybe what style you were going to?
Sure, absolutely. I wanted to make an album that was music that I didn't hear being made by my friends. Right, I was making music with my friends, but we weren't able to write this combination of industrial rock and nu metal. I'm very inspired by bands like Linkin Park and Stabbing Westward, and those two were probably the biggest influences in making that first album. I was just trying to get a lot of feelings and emotions out at that time with that soundtrack in mind, and slowly but surely it morphed into something even bigger. Excuse me.
Sure. And now that you did your second album, which was Melancholia, the Neon Nightmare, which is really important to touch base because I personally feel like that was the turning point in your career. So why don't you give us a little background of Melancholia, because it's very different of anything that I've seen or heard, and just very intrigued of that process behind it.
Thank you. So after releasing my first album, I tried playing on it, but COVID obviously got in the way,
For sure.
Being in another band. So as COVID broke, that band broke up as well, and I decided to start writing music just in general. There was a big life incident that happened. There was a breakup that I had that did start the initial process of that music. And so as I'm writing these lyrics about these sort of personal feelings I had, along the way, it started dawning on me that I wanted my music to sound more poppy. And so a lot of the music that I was writing then was influenced by a more pop direction. And that's kind of always the thing I wanted to do. I always thought I wanted to make people dance rather than feel really terrible.
Okay.
So, it was a good marriage between the two. Melancholia kind of took on this idea of, dealing with this breakup, but on the backdrop of COVID and the quarantine, and noticing a lot of the people in my life and within America feeling very terrible as well. So the title of Melancholia represents that sadness, that perpetual sadness that we all felt.
And that makes sense too, because the melancholia, I feel like that we all feel, and especially during COVID, we had that opportunity to obviously be very alone and with our thoughts and maybe things that in another situation we wouldn't have faced. So it's very interesting that album, was written during that time period, and how outside circumstances, aside from your personal experiences, influence the album.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the way I think about Melancholia, the reason I named it that as the theme of the album was that it kind of represented not just a feeling but a place. You know, Melancholia is America in my mind. And the hotel that is sort of like the backdrop of this theme is the perpetual houses that we are living in, that perpetual fear and negativity. And then, yeah, as I was writing a lot of it, it came to mind of like, you know, maybe I could put in other influences that I'm inspired by into this music. You know, in that time period I was locked away, I grew out my hair, and that made me very conscious.
Was great, by the way.
Thank you, appreciate it. It made me much more conscious of who I was as a person, and I wanted to include a lot more influences. So video games and, you know, sci-fi and that kind of stuff worked its way.
Yeah, because in a way you were also, like, through that process and that time period, you were self-discovering as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's really interesting that you mentioned, like, video game influences. If you guys don't know or you haven't seen, the singles that, you know, Days of Grey has released tend to be very similar to the PlayStation 1 era video games.
Yeah.
So, which is really cool. So take a look and note the detail, because there are a lot of game references, and we'll dive a little bit more into that, but it's a nice shout out.
Thank you.
So when you did Melancholia 1, did you ever imagine that it was going to have a second part to the story?
Not at all. I think a lot of what happened between the release of that album and then where we got to today, it was, you know, actually involved you in a lot of respects. But yeah, I discovered that along the way.
So when do you decide that you're like, I'm going to write a second part to this and see if I can culminate the story, or are we going to have a possibility of a third part, an expansion pack, you know,
Maybe.
the DLC?
Yeah, I think just after you release an album, you know, I tend to write, like a lot of bands, just music in general. I try to be writing all the time. And after releasing that album, I was like, okay, I'm kind of free to do whatever I want now that this work is done. And I just kept writing more and more songs that weren't going to lead to anything. But in conversations with you and reflecting on my life after, there was a lot of stuff happening both culturally, politically, and even personally that kind of demanded more songs come out. And in that part I started having a bigger vision of what this could be. Rather than just being a collection of songs about my life, I actually started realizing that this music demanded a stage presence and a storyline that kind of ran through it. And I wouldn't say it's like a rock opera. It is a rock opera,
Yeah.
but it didn't start with that in mind. That came later.
Like that idea, like after everything that you wrote and
Yeah.
even the shows you performed with Melancholia, first part was really the evolution to where you are now.
Right.
Yeah.
And-
Just to say, one of the conversations that, you know, I remember having is he's like, I kind of wanted to seem like, you know, theatrical, almost like a rock Broadway. And with that in mind, it's very interesting to see the direction that you're going.
Thank you.
And the things that you're adding it to make that, like, make your shows and performances stand out, as well as anything connected to the world of Melancholia, would I say?
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say, ultimately, when it dawned on me that all of these influences that I had with video games and movies, sci-fi and literature, they could all be added to this storyline, that's when it really kind of dawned on me, I need a second part. This part is trying to live up to the idea of the Neon Nightmare, whereas the first album was very poppy. I think the second album was meant to be more theatrical and even grand, like, yeah, inspired really much.
Cinematic, would you say?
Cinematic,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
You know, we both have in common that we really like going to the movies, and it's a big part of what we do. And I remember, like, you know, you studied a lot, you know, Hans Zimmer, a lot of other great composers for cinematography, and I think that also really influenced, you know, your album. One thing I definitely want to ask you about, and I feel like everybody wants to know.
Everybody?
Yes, everybody. Tell me about these characters it seems like you play on stage. we've seen the black outfit with the mask, Nero, right? And there's also the other one with the white suit, Orpheus.
Yes.
So can you tell us like what representation they have or meaning they have to your story?
Sure. Without giving it all away, you know, as I was writing this album, I envisioned it as a video game, and that when you were listening to the album, whether from Neon Nightmare and Regenesis or reverse, that you going along with the journey. And in the same way, I felt very much like this would be my Inferno into Paradiso. And if you know anything about Dante's story, he's got his favorite poet taking him on that journey. So in that story, it's Virgil. For me, it's sort of this representation of an even bigger artist. Orpheus' Morning Song is based on the Greek hero Orpheus. Nero, Valentine, is sort of the villain of the story.
Okay.
If you will. So as the character enters the story, they're encountering them, but Orpheus will be your guide through the hotel, the Heartbreak Hotel.
Okay.
While Nero is trying to stop you in every way. So in a way, it's the hero and the villain of the story.
Oh, very interesting. So that's why Orpheus is in the Heartbreak Hotel video. He's the main guy.
Yeah,
in that video.
He's your guide. He's the introductive.
Okay, so now we start connecting the pieces together and how they're connected. Ah, okay. Well, thank you for that insight. It makes it clearer to see like the world together. Now, yeah, here's a trick fun question if you remember.
Sure.
Do you remember what's like one of the first songs you wrote on Melancholia Regenesis?
Good question. I think one of the earliest ones is Doom Scroller.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had that way back when in like 2022.
Oh, and that song evolved a lot, right? From its inception.
Definitely.
It's always just interesting to see like an artist and how they work behind the scenes. What about you? Like, how's your process? Do you feel like you write first? Are you influenced first with an idea? Do you write the melody first? Because I feel like everybody has different, process.
Yeah, for me it always starts with the music.
Okay.
Sometimes it starts with me playing a guitar riff. Other times it's a synthesizer, and it could even be a drum beat. For me, on a lot of these songs, it started with synthesizer and like the virtual instruments that got the mood right.
Okay.
If we're gonna live up to a nightmare, what does a nightmare sound like?
Oh.
And I think that a lot of those songs started with that. There's even some like audio loops that were free that I kind of mess with. But in the end, what happens is once I get a basis for the melody, the loops, or the guitar parts, then the melody comes on top of that.
Oh.
And then I find what's the song really trying to say? What am I feeling?
Oh, so then like lyrics are the like last thing that come for you?
Yeah, I used to be the opposite. I used to feel like I have to like cut myself emotionally and then like throw it on the canvas or whatever.
Like the blood is like your lyrics right there.
Right. But at the end of it, it's like sometimes the lyrics don't mean as much to the song. It's more about what's the vibe. And
would you also say like it depends on the song? Because maybe you have an idea of like a word or a phrase that you heard and it goes into a song?
Yeah, for sure. A song like Kill for Our Love, that was like a phrase that I gravitated to, and I kind of built a song around that theme about two lovers just like willing to fight tooth and nail, almost like Bonnie and Clyde for their salvation, for their love. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
So in this particular album for Regenesis, right? What is your like musical or artist influences?
Ah, good question. I think where Melancholia 1 ended up, I came to the realization that the music I wanted to make was sort of gothic R&B.
Oh,
and so the
gothic
influences,
R&B.
the artist influences are kind of very clear. A lot of it is a mix between Michael Jackson and Marilyn Manson, whether it's the visual aesthetic or like the music. But other bands, of course, that are in there are Deftones, Linkin Park. I love Him. It's a big one. The Weeknd.
Oh,
yeah.
I love The Weeknd.
You and I love The Weeknd. And I feel like he's actually kind of a big key to the sound because it wasn't for a long time that there was an artist that could blend pop music with darkness or sadness that
he showcases it really well.
Yeah, he showcases it very well, and it kind of is like the middle ground between that MJ and the Marilyn Manson influence. But yeah, a lot of that. And then sometimes it's very random. You mentioned Hans Zimmer before. A big composer for me would be Nobuo Uematsu from Final Fantasy.
Definitely.
The music of Soul Reaver, the Legacy of Kain game. So it's a lot of, even now, Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Music that's very
Dune,
theatrical.
I would say
Dune, oh my
was
God.
a big inspo.
Absolutely. And then The Matrix, just
Yeah.
how they have all of these different sounds.
Yeah. And I think also like sometimes the visualization of it is also very kind of like matrixy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is super interesting to see. What song are you the proudest or surprised by on the album?
That's a good question. I would say, on this particular album, Heartbreak Hotel, that holds a very special place because it kind of is more confessional, like The Usher or Weekend Side.
Okay.
But then it has that Marilyn Manson vocal and the darkness that I love. To me, yeah, if I'm going to point to a song on the album that represents it very well, it's that one. But it feels like Doom Scroller has a lot of people into it. Aurora. And then later on, I think a song like even Incantation, which is really dark, but it's got a cinematic quality to it that I think represents the album very well and uses sounds that I don't think I've used before. The binaural effect is really weird.
Yeah, and there's also sounds in the album that, we produced on our own.
Yeah, she was very good at helping. Sometimes I'd have like a sound, I'd be like, I'm trying to make the sound that's like fire. How do I do that? And she's like, I got you. And she finds it, and it works,
Yeah, it's like nice to have like those tidbits of like, you're looking for something and then you have like the Lara Croft aha moment, like, yes, I found it. So
reference.
it was nice to see. Now that Melancholia 2 Regenesis is out, you've had an opportunity to play a show with the album being out. What do you see next for the world of Melancholia, right, and for Days of Grey?
Good question. So from performing, I want to make the show even more theatrical, bringing more of that Michael Jackson influence, and hopefully at some point have like dancers or choreography, incorporating a lot of video. To go back to your earlier answer, is there going to be like a part 3 or an expansion?
Yeah.
I mean, there's DLC for everything on video games. So I do have plans for some stuff. We'll keep under wraps for now to keep people excited. I don't know if there will be a third part. That might be something future, because I'm much happier now. But where I see Days of Grey could be very different. It doesn't have to be a story, or it doesn't have to have this storyline, but it's there for me to play if I need to. But I do want to work with the people that are in the band currently. We have a really cool lineup of people that is making my show even more exciting, because the songs that you're going to hear live don't necessarily mean... the songs you'll hear as they are live aren't necessarily how they are on the record.
Right.
We're kind of making them even better.
Yeah.
So I hope that, when you come to a Days of Grey show, not only you're going to get that atmosphere and the energy of the record, but you're going to have something even more exciting.
And, we talk a lot about how Melancholia 1 and 2 is a build of a world. If, the audience was interested in, like, tapping more into that, is there any clues that you can give them to, like, try to connect? Or what clues that they can see to be like, oh, this makes a lot more sense or such?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes being consistent is kind of tough when it comes to social media content because I'm so busy, but things that I've put out in the past are going to have an impact. Things that are going to be putting out are going to come and have an impact as well. I would say pay attention to the music videos. There's some clues in there that kind of tie the world together.
Exciting clues.
Yeah, and then we're going to have some what I call audio logs coming out. The audio logs are kind of representative of those items that you'd find in video games.
Yes.
That will help build out the world.
This is a sneak peek.
It's a sneak peek. I think it's going to be fantastic once it's finally all out, for you to sit there and understand that there is a world to sit and listen to that's beyond the scope of just the music. You know, I want to make it an experience for everybody.
Yeah, and I think you've been very successful at, you know, definitely trying to have it as an experience to the listener. You know, as somebody that has been present for ideas and just, you know, bounce backs, you know, sometimes like kind of blockage of inspiration and such. It's really nice to see it come to fruition, like your ideas, you know, things behind your brain. And I think it's working. I mean, you know, in shows and everything, the excitement I see, the people that come and see you, the great ideas that you have for the shows to come, and their significance. So just be very aware of even things that you think are not significant are significant for the world to kind of all click together like a nice big jigsaw puzzle. And we just want to do a little fun rapid fire. He has no idea what the questions are, and I'm just kind of excited to see like his responses.
Sure.
So remember, rapid fire, I ask you a question. First thing that comes to mind is how you answer the question.
Okay.
Okay? No overthinking. Okay, ready?
Sure.
What artist would you want to work with right now in this moment?
Mike Shinoda, as well as maybe Lady Gaga.
Ooh.
Those are two really big artists that I want to work with.
Okay.
If The Weeknd calls, I'm here, bro.
I'm ready. Okay. Favorite vocalist?
Right now it's LaJohn Witherspoon from Seven Dust.
Very nice.
Yeah, but you know, anytime Michael Jackson,
Okay.
Chester Bennington.
Okay. Favorite song or thing about Regenesis?
Favorite song or thing about Regenesis? Favorite song right now? Again, Doom Scroller is really big. I'm gonna say Hurutslang also because it's pretty representative. Thing? Maybe I love the costumes that we're trying to create. Yeah.
Okay.
Working on some new ones.
Favorite color?
Black and royal blue.
Oh.
I know I'm giving two answers for everything, but it's so hard. Right?
I guess your mind ping pongs.
My mind is ping pong. You said first thing.
Okay. Favorite genre to listen to?
New metal.
What about to sing?
To sing, dance pop.
Dance pop.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. What's your favorite food?
Favorite food? Oh my god, this is a big question. Gyros?
No.
I don't know.
Wow, I'm surprised by that.
Actually, favorite meal ever is pancakes with syrup.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay, cool.
It's also
Thanks.
ironically my last meal.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. You've been great.
Yeah,
I hope
thanks.
to have another interview at some point. And for you guys, thank you for checking out.